Brought to you by Penguin Random House Canada.
The South by Tash Aw, read by Windson Liong. Two boys walk through the scant shade of an orchard, far from the house where they are staying. It is just after midday, the sun at its fiercest, no one else around. In this light, the land shimmers uncertainly before them. It hasn't rained for months. The vegetation, usually heavy with moisture, has turned pale and brittle. These past few days, the air itself has become so hot and dry that it singes the boys' throats when they breathe. Light a match and the whole country could go up in flames, one of the boys says. His name is Jay. He picks a path through the long coarse grass that slashes at his calves, crisscrossing them with fine, exquisite cuts that will smart when he washes himself later that day. Though he has grown used to the pain, in fact, barely recognizes it as such. The undergrowth here is a tangle of thorns, and each evening Jay finds small wounds on his arms and legs that leave bright red stains on his towel and bedsheet. Yet mostly, he isn't even aware that his skin has been punctured. The boys walk steadily, pushing towards the deep shadows in the middle of the orchard. I call them boys, but in truth, they are no longer boys. What are they then? Because they are not yet men. Maybe it isn't important to know at this precise moment. When they have reached the base of the biggest tree, the boys look up at the branches, forked and twisted with age. Jay reaches out and touches the trunk, his fingers tracing the shallow crevices. Soon it will be cut down, along with all the others. They are diseased, the boys have been told, and have to be destroyed. Trees like this can live for hundreds of years, Jay says. In India, there's one that's 1,000 years old. Did you read that in one of your books? The other boy asks. Though it doesn't sound like a question. He isn't interested in the age of trees. He isn't interested in the trees at all, even though they are part of the landscape he has known all his life. Cutting down a tree is worse than killing a human being, Jay says, staring at the branches. The boy laughs, though it is not a cheerful sound, just a low rumble in his throat. What do you know about death? He says. His name is Chuan. Have you ever killed anyone? Jay feels him come close, but he doesn't turn around. He feels the breath on the back of his neck, though maybe it is just his heightened imagination, because he has been longing for this moment for some days now. And in his longing, he has anticipated the way every second will unfold, the way he will touch and be touched, the smooth, sticky quality of Chuan's skin, the things they will say to each other. He knows every detail before it happens. All he has to do now is wait. He feels Chuan's hands on his shoulders, close to the nape of his neck. I hope we can save these trees, he says, still looking up at the leaves overhead. Jay imagines turning slowly to look at Chuan, until one of them, it doesn't matter who, reaches out and touches the other's face. But he won't. He is seized by something between fear and indecision. What will he discover if he looks at the other boy now? Turn around, Jay. Turn around. But he is unable to move. He finds that his body has become foreign. For so many years, he has yearned for someone to touch him in this way, for the freedom he will experience. He imagined the clarity of the joy he would feel, how he would savor every gesture. Maybe he is afraid of this liberation and what it might lead to. It is the first time he has felt his body slipping away from his control. In the future, there will be other occasions in other places far from here, and he will grow accustomed to it. But for now, this sensation is new. I hope we can save these trees, he says again, looking skyward. On the lower branches, he sees a large bird that he cannot identify. A tiny hawk or an oversized cuckoo. It's hard to tell against the light. The bird is looking back at him, studying him. He wonders if this is a good omen or a bad one. He feels Chuan's hands grip his shoulders. A neutral, warm pressure at first, which then begins to hurt slightly, though the pain is not unpleasant. Now, at last, he begins to turn around. But Chuan is pushing down on him hard, urging him towards the tree trunk until his face is pressed against it. The bark is rough, and he knows that if he struggles, his skin will be grazed and perhaps even bloodied, marked by his desire, which he will not be able to hide from the world. With his feet, Chuan nudges Jace apart, and Jay feels his hands fumbling to pull his shorts down, but the Velcro buckle gets caught in the waistband and the fabric bunches up around Jay's hips. He reaches down to untangle the mess, and now he can feel Chuan's body, lean and taut, pressing against him as he frees himself from his shorts. Again, Jay tries to turn around. He wants to appreciate these first few minutes, stretching them out in his mind so that whatever time they have together will feel like many hours, a whole day. That was how he has imagined the first time. But Chuan is pushing against him. He is older and stronger than Jay. His forearm is lodged against Jay's back, and Jay is momentarily startled by Chuan's strength, even though he knows he shouldn't be. Chuan's body is a product of this landscape after all, unyielding and harsh. What surprises him most is the thought that Chuan wants the first moments of closeness to be over as swiftly as possible, to accelerate each second and collapse time, the opposite of what Jay seeks. When it is over, less than 2 minutes later, according to Jay's estimate, Chuan rests his head in the space between Jay's neck and shoulder. "I want to be with you," he says. "Forever." Jay nods. In that moment, forever seems like a comforting notion. But at that age, what does either of them really know about time? That year, we went south for the holidays at the end of the school year. Instead of traveling north to visit my grandmother, who was in the final stages of a disease that none of the doctors could identify, a combination of osteoporosis and old age that would eventually render her weak and docile, but which at that point had simply made her unpredictable and bad-tempered. She had been in fine health all her life, and was not used to relying on other people for help with domestic chores or even sometimes bathing. And a sudden decline came as a shock to everyone, herself most of all. Up until she turned 77, she had been fit and capable of walking to the market and carrying the shopping bag on her own, of staying out reasonably late with friends in the small town she lived in, which had become a popular destination for tourists, a development she found amusing. People driving 3 hours to a local coffee shop, she would laugh. Then, earlier that year, she had stumbled on the half-step down into her kitchen, broken her hip, and was immobile for many weeks. Her mood changed. She became disagreeable, and most of all, she was alone. My grandfather had died the previous year. His passing took no one by surprise. He was much older than her and had been ill for many years, and my grandmother was relieved of the burden of caring for him. It was a shame that her freedom lasted only a year before she too began to deteriorate, long before she should have. My parents didn't talk much about my grandparents' illnesses. We were not the kind of family to express pain of any kind, believing that discussing difficult matters would make them worse. But I was 16 and understood that my grandmother wouldn't hold out for long. For a few months that year, my parents became moody and silent, keeping quiet even at mealtimes. My sister
Sample complete. Ready to continue?